right, so welcome back to Studio 39, aka the Bear Cave. I'm Rob Bodie. This is Spotlight 39. Just like we do every time, we got another young man with another story to share. But before we get into all that, please hit that subscribe button. Please continue to do what you do. Share it on all your social media so we can continue to blow this thing up. Now that that's out the way, man, let's have some fun. Let's have some conversation. Got a very special guest, former UMaine Black Bear, current Sam Houston, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh man, the floor is all yours. Tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do, and all that good stuff.
My name is Miguel Garcia. I'm from E92, Texas. I'm an offensive lineman, and yeah, I'm ready.
Offensive
I'm ready
lineman,
to
right? How
work.
many years
Yeah.
eligibility we got left?
Well, with COVID and everything happened, they pushed it back, so I have one more year left.
Okay. So is Sam Houston were they did they have a fall season or are they playing in the spring?
We have a spring season. Our first game is February, about the third week of February.
Okay. So we kick off in February and then we got one more season after that, or is this your final?
We got one more. We got fall season as well.
Yeah, cool, man. Cool. So let's do this, man. So obviously you're a current college athlete, right? With some years of experience under your belt, right? If you don't
Yes,
mind
sir.
kind of walking us down memory road and taking us back to high school and really, kind of start us off to what your high school career looked like, at what point did you start, having coaches reach out for your recruiting process. Let's just have some fun with some memories, man.
All
I'll
right.
let you kind of
So,
walk us down that road.
yeah, honestly, for me, it was kind of hard with recruiting and stuff because I came from a small town, and our town wasn't really, it's not really known like that how it used to be back in the day. So it was just hard to get exposure. So I really didn't start hearing from coaches until my senior year, and it was like NAIAs, D3s, maybe a couple of D2s, but other than that, it wasn't really nothing too crazy. So I ended up getting a phone call from California, a junior college, College of the Canyons,
Okay.
and the offensive line Coach Dumnow, he had reached out to me, was talking to me, and he was persuading me to, hey, I see potential in you, like you could do this, like if you come up here like maybe a year or two, like we could get you out to Division 1, or you could get a full ride, they'll pay for everything. So I was really leaning towards that, man, because like I told my parents, I was like, honestly, I probably not going to college, like because I just,
No, for sure.
if it wasn't for football or nothing, it's I don't feel like it's me.
Right, right. So when you got the call from the program out in Cali, and you had that conversation, is that the direction you ultimately decided to go, right? So you're
Sir, because I,
officially a JUCO product, right?
yes, sir.
All right. So when you got the call, you said it was your senior year. Was it before season or was it kind of
It was
during season
after
and they reached
season,
out?
just about after season.
Okay, so it was real late into the process, right? But you got
Yeah,
the
it was
phone
about spring, and it was in the spring, honestly. There,
Okay. So we got the late phone call at that point, right? And then we
sir.
decided, you know what? This is the path for me. You go out there, right? Obviously, you showed out to the point, how did we do 1 or 2 years out there?
We did 2 years.
So we did 2 years out there, and then you got the call. Well, let me take that back. Let's kind of rewind. Um, at what point did your recruiting start up again, after your 2 years out in Cali?
After the season, as well, and it started in the spring.
Okay. After your second season?
After my second season, yes, sir.
Yeah. So who all reached out to you, or was it a lone survivor?
Not so um, not Sam Houston, but Houston Baptist reached out to me,
Okay.
and it was funny because they're from Houston too, so it's
Yeah.
close to home. Maine reached out to me. What was some other schools? There's probably like a few other schools that have reached out to me, but I wasn't really interested because like recruiting wise, and like my coaches from my JUCO were telling me like those schools aren't really,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
should
So
lean more towards either Maine or someone with a good conference.
yeah, so what led you down the road to ultimately decide to go from Texas up to Maine, man?
Let's see, this is a funny story. Is that so I was verbally committed to Houston Baptist,
Okay.
and yeah, I was verbally committed, and the day before I was gonna go on a visit to Maine, I told the coach, like, hey, I'm going on a visit. Like, honestly, it's nothing. Like, I'm just gonna go, come back. Like to me, it was a free trip, honestly.
Yeah, yeah, for
But
sure.
so I went, and all of a sudden the doors open, man. God really worked. He showed me this is a place for me. It felt like a family straight off when I got off the plane, and it was just crazy. It
Yeah.
was just a different experience. I had to decommit, and then I committed to Maine, and man, it just changed my life.
So that's that's very similar to my man Darius, right? So
Yes,
ultimately,
sir.
we thought he was going to be a Virginia Tech Hokie, right? He had the offer.
Mhm.
Uh, we decided, well, he decided that was where he was, going to go, right? That's where we
Yes,
we as
sir.
a family thought he was going. It was his dream school. Everything was in line, right? Everything seemed to be fitting. And then UMaine came calling kind of at the 11th hour, right? And ultimately he wasn't going to go. He was like, man, I ain't never been on a plane. That's 13, 14 hours away from home. Text 3 hours down the street. It's an easy ride, and it was just all those things that kind of started to add up. And I was like, look, man, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, right? Just be open minded. Think of it as a big job interview. Get on the plane, go experience something different, right? It was the one visit that I couldn't take him on, unfortunately, because it was
Mhm.
so late in the process. And for me, I have no problem driving, man. Obviously, you saw us take 16 people up to Maine on opening day, but at the same
Sir.
time, I don't drive in snow, man. Like that's my thing. I just don't do, right? So
Yeah.
come February, late January, early February, you Maine, there's probably some snow up there, right? Or at least somewhere in the travels to
Mhm.
get up there. So I was like, look, man, I'm gonna
Definitely.
have to sit this one out because the plane tickets was over 750. The drive just didn't seem doable. And I was like, just go out there, listen to what they had to say, soak it up. And at the end of the day, if you still want to be a Virginia Tech Hokie, by all means, come home and do so, right? And
Sure.
when he gets out there, he shot me a text and was like, "Yo, it feels like home out here." And I was like, "What do you mean it feels like home? Like, where the hell is Maine at?" Right? Like, I kept giving him crap. Like, man, you better go out there and learn how to ice fish. Go
Uh,
moose hunting or something like that. Because I mean, what else are you gonna do in Maine unless you're going lobster hunting, right? So
sure.
come full circle. He does the visit. He comes home and he was like, "I'm committing to the University of Maine." Like, man, get the hell out of here! Like, stop playing. No, 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 I'm for real. And I was like, oh, okay. So sure enough, I think it was either the day he got back or the day after he made the commitment publicly to the University of Maine, and then obviously, come full circle, 2018 comes, and then 2 weeks in a camp, ultimately, his life ended. Doing what he enjoyed doing. But it was crazy, right? Because he could
Yes,
have
sir.
been a Virginia Tech Hokie 3 hours from home, but like you said, as soon as you got off the plane, man, it was just different, right? You felt the brotherhood, you
Mhm.
felt the environment. It just felt genuine and it felt real, and that's why he chose to go, the University of Maine. And it sounds like that was pretty similar to yours. I didn't mean to steer off gear, man. But look, anytime I can plug in, my man, I got to do so. This is all about him anyway, right? So,
Yes,
I'll let you
sir.
jump back in and kind of catch up where you were. So you go out to UMaine, you decided, you know what, this is where I'm going to call home for the next X amount of years. So what happens when you get on campus? What was that like?
I mean, it was different, because it was cool coming from Cali to Maine. It's way different, man. Because Cali's over there, it's big. Because I was by LA, I was in Santa Clarita,
Yeah,
so it was about 20, 30 minutes from LA. So just the traffic and everything was just so
culture shock and
completely
everything,
different,
right?
man. Yeah.
You had In and
I was
Out
like, yeah.
Burgers, Maine. You got what, the coffee pot sandwich spot, right?
Hmm. Yeah, so no, it was definitely different. But like you said, like my brother-in-law, he had told me, he was like, you know what, you might as well just go on the trip because you don't want to look back and say, man, I should have went. Like, who
Sure.
knows, something could have been different. And, look how the season turned out. 2018 was a great season for us, and it was, crazy.
Yeah, so walk me through what it meant to you. Obviously, I've had a couple of different guys from the team talk about the 18 season, but for you, how was it for you? What did it mean to you? Obviously you're an offensive lineman compared to the other guys that I've chatted with, but what's your perspective on the 2018 year?
Honestly, it was crazy for me because it was just a dream come true, to go from playing high school where nobody really knows where I'm from and to go into a JUCO and then finally playing Division 1, like it was just a dream, come true. And it was just a shock to actually start and be on the field with the guys and go through the struggle.
Yeah, so 2018, right? Being an offensive lineman, you got to block, you got to block and hold it down for Chris, right? And he had a hell of a year at quarterback.
Hmm.
You had Ernest Edwards had pretty much broke through, right, and really
Hmm.
made a name for himself at the D1 level. And then we got to witness plays that just probably shouldn't or wouldn't normally happen, right? And obviously, me being on the
Sure.
sideline at a lot of the away games, it was eye opening, right? I mean, I think about the Towson game specifically, right? Towson, goal line stance, and our boy Sheffield stops them to win the game. Like,
Hmm.
what was that? You know what I mean? Like, how do you have that many opportunities at the goal line with a really good running, running back when they're programmed, and y'all stopped them? You know what I mean? It was incredibly powerful to see things like that happen because normally those pieces of the puzzle wouldn't normally fall in place, right?
Yes, sir.
So I was just curious on what that meant to you and what your perspective was of the overall year was because if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the best season in program history.
Hmm.
They I think that was the second time they won the conference championship, but the furthest that the program's ever gone. So speaking of furthest, right? Talk to me a little bit about what the travel schedule was. As a black bear in general, not necessarily the 18 year, because heck, last year was not much different, right? You guys put up
Yeah.
some miles.
Yeah, no, the travel schedule, it was pretty nice. We would wake up, go do walkthroughs. After that, it would feed us, go eat, and then if it was a away game, we would get on the bus, pack our stuff, get checked in, get on the bus, go to the airplane, get settled in, get something to eat. Then we would take off, go fly. It's just business trip. Once you
Yeah.
get there, you land, you got to get off, and you got to do what you got to do. Whether it's put music in and just focus, read something, you just got to get zoned in because once we land and we get there, it's all business.
Yeah, yeah, no, most definitely. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I'm fairly certain in 2018, UMaine traveled the largest, amount of miles total, in any one season. So, I mean, pretty remarkable. You guys were going from east to west, east to west. It felt like, especially around playoff time, man. I mean, Utah back to Maine, Maine out to Washington. It was outrageous. And had you guys pulled out the Washington, victory, you would have went to Maine and then to Frisco. So, I mean, it was just, tons of miles, but incredibly special to watch. And, taking back to the Western Kentucky game that year, when you guys blocked the field goal for the win, right? At their stadium, where typically it's, they just pay the other university quite a few dollars to come and basically just get beat up and, take the money and run, right? And
Mhm.
you guys had it in your heart that wasn't happening. So 2018, you guys go in there, show what you were made of, block the kick, right? So I actually had a gentleman, I don't know if you've seen him on the show, a couple episodes back, but his name was Tyler Witt, and he was on the O line for Western Kentucky. So I got to hear his perspective of kind of what it was like to be on the opposite end, and it was pretty eye opening. But he was incredibly great to speak with, and he actually just transferred from Western Kentucky over to Purdue because of the eligibility and such, and being closer to home. So sounds very similar to your situation. Looks like a lot of individuals are taking advantage of opportunities to get closer to home and do certain things like that. But all in all, 2018 was pretty remarkable. And then I think it was 2019 when you damn near broke the internet with the smack, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So so walk me through that, man. What was going through your mind when you're on the line and just pow, smack
I
him in the
think
head?
actually that was in 2018 against Albany.
Oh, was that okay? Okay, I thought it was
Yeah,
19, but it was 18. Okay, so so what made you
yeah,
do
no.
that?
Well, because I just learned that if someone jumps offside, if you tag them, like it's offsides on them. So I
Right.
just reacted, and I didn't even think it was that bad. And then whenever I did it, like we watched film the next day, and the coaches were laughing. They were like, "Yo, you didn't even have to do that to him," And I was like, "Man, like I'm pretty sure next season he's definitely gonna be looking for me."
Yeah, that was quite the enjoyment, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I think
I,
you
I,
still
I
have it pinned
actually
on your page, right?
Yeah, I actually thought I was gonna get in trouble for it by the coaches. So when I posted it, I kind of just put my phone away, and then I took a nap, and I woke up, and it started blowing up, and I was like, "Wow, like
Nice,
it's really something."
cool, man. So look, going through that as a college athlete, right? Did did you walk in as a starter when you got to UMaine, or did you earn your spot? How did that work for you?
So I had to earn it. I got there, and they already had a starting five, and I mean they were still looking for someone to compete. So I went there as a tackle, and they ended up needing a guard, so they switched me to guard, and I just you got to learn it. If you want to play, you got to learn what you want to play.
Oh
Like you got
yeah,
to just So I was like, what, I can play whatever you want me to play. I just want to be on the field. So I started learning how to play guard, and from there, I think we were our second week in camp, and it was before the scrimmage, like 2 days before the scrimmage, that he had moved me to guard, and I was like, wow, like I got to definitely, it's different, because everything happens faster. Rather than like tackle, you're more one on one, and it's
right,
you
right.
got a little bit of space with you, but. Yeah, so I just had to learn, and it was great having some great mentors on the offensive line too. Cody Leafy and Liam Dobson and Chris Movey and all of them.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
it's
I mean, you guys had a hell of a line, hell of a team. I mean, there was a lot of special pieces in place, that's for sure.
mhm.
So you moved over on the line, right? And then so we earned our spot. We started 2 full years there, and then ultimately, what led to your decision to come closer, go closer to home?
Well, so I actually redshirted this past season, or the last season, my last
Okay.
season at Maine, just because of due to some injuries in the spring, because I had messed up my MCL
Okay.
and I just had to recover, and that's what I was really focused on, was just recovering and then getting my degree. So I ended up doing that, and I was like, you know what, for my last season, I'm trying to take it closer to home because I don't want my family just to see 1 or 2 games,
Oh
like
yeah.
fly to Maine and just.
I mean,
So
they
I was like,
subscribe to Flow Sports, right?
yeah.
I had my little subscription. Shoot. That's how I was catching the most of the games, right? If I wasn't there, I was watching on Flow Sports, having a little watch party. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. So I was just, I decided to come closer to home, and it's not too bad. I got my space and they got their space. Because 5 hours, 4.5 hours isn't really bad. Rather
Yeah,
than
yeah. I mean,
like
heck no,
20 to
considering.
Cali or 30 to Maine.
Yeah, yeah. So closer to home, right? And then I don't know if we'll call it lucked out or what the case is, but because of COVID, you get the extra year, right? Or the extra season
Hmm.
per se. So you get to suit up in, spring, and then you get to go regular in fall, right? So is the spring season a shortened season, or is it going to be, a full schedule, or what's it look like for you guys? Because you guys are in different conference.
Yeah. So it's shortened. It's 6 games, but it's going to be 2 games in a bye week, and then 2 games in a bye week, and then 2 games,
Okay.
and then I believe they're going to have a playoffs instead the championship. So
Yep. Yeah, I
um,
saw what was it? Like February 28th or something. Not February,
mhm,
like May 28th or something like that in Frisco, right? Something along
mhm.
those lines. But nonetheless, man. So look, I appreciate you taking us down memory road, right? It was always fun to catch up and kind of share some stories and memories. But if you don't mind, man, I mean, obviously you've got tons of experience under your belt at this point and taking a completely different path than the traditional. What advice would you lend to student athletes, especially in these times where scholarships are much less available than normal? And then obviously a lot of the kids in very similar situations that are in rural areas that aren't necessarily recruited as heavy, very similar to yourself. What advice would you give those guys?
Just believe in yourself and keep working. And I mean, you got this. Because the only person that can stop you is yourself. Keep sending your film out. Try to get more exposure. Social media nowadays is a big, huge factor. In how our society works. And if you need to, I mean, there's nothing wrong with going to a junior college. Because I mean, I did it, and now I play at 2 Division 1 levels. Or you could just go, Division 2, Division 3, because regardless, you see NFL players, coming from like all over.
Oh
So
yeah.
it doesn't really matter where you go. It matters like how you look and how perform.
Nah, for sure. Look, man, I appreciate it. Again, thanks for jumping on. Thanks for sharing some stories and memories. Thanks for lending advice to the young ones looking to come up. I'm gonna wish you nothing but the best. I'm gonna try to tune in whichever path I can, to catch a game or two, right? And
Yes,
in the
sir.
process, hopefully we get to stay connected and in contact. And in the meantime, stay safe and stay healthy. All right, my man.
It's definitely you too.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate it. I'll be